ready to follow characters and where they're going to go in the story. But once I start, I make sure that I'm doing this on a daily basis. You need that discipline because too easily you can be distracted by other things.
Et la relation, par exemple, justement au public, j'y reviens un petit peu, mais dans des salons, dans des conférences, dans des dédicaces, est-ce qu'elle vous influence, elle vous nourrit peut-être, ou comment est-ce que vous la vivez?
Oh yeah. Well, writing's an isolating activity. It's a thing we do on our own. So to get out into the public and to meet the readers is brilliant. I love it. I've only recently started up a Facebook page, Steven Erikson Official, I think it's called. And I'm engaging with the fans through that as well. And only occasionally do I kick a hornet's nest, which I did quite recently by posting a meme on veganism and plastic fur, something along those lines. You know, it's curious. Generally, if I post something that has a political bent to it, you know, you get fairly extreme political views appearing on the site, commentary. That is nothing compared to veganism, right? I mean, this was serious stuff. So I had to sort of back off a little bit on that one. But it's good. It's great to be engaged with the fans. And this is something new. It's something us writers have to sort of come to grips with. Because historically that was not the case. Historically, the writer could remain remote and not necessarily a personality in and of themselves. And they weren't marketing that personality, they were simply marketing their books. Times have changed. Yeah.
Un petit mot, on vous connaît donc pour ce cycle des Balazers, mais il y a pas mal de séries et de romans qu'on ne connaît pas du tout en France. Est-ce que vous pouvez nous en dire un petit mot? Je pense notamment à la trilogie, il y a 2 tomes. Carcanas trilogie, par exemple. Est-ce que vous pouvez nous dire ce que c'est, par exemple?
Well, that's the one I mentioned earlier. That's the one that followed on from the Malazan series. So it is a very different writing style. It's a writing style that's based on breath length. Does that sound right? Breath length? Yeah. So the cadence of the spoken word and the spoken lines. They're novels that you could read out loud quite easily because I'm trying to invoke the oral tradition. If I'm going back 200,000 years, I want to make a clean break from the style I was using for the 10-book series. The other trilogy that's in the States is The Willful Child. Those are satires loosely inspired by Star Trek, the original series. I asked myself, what would a starship captain be like if his only role model was James T. Kirk? And I just took it from there.
Et j'ai noté aussi Rejoice, The Knight of the Heart, en 2018.
Sorry? Rejoice, A Knife to the Heart? Yeah. Yeah, that one I spoke about a little bit yesterday. It's a first contact novel, and I guess it's my first serious foray into science fiction. And it's more of a thought experiment than anything else. And I find that most of my fiction is generated by something that has obsessed or haunted me for a long time. And so I was researching and reading first contact novels, but researching ufology and pretty much all subjects related to that for at least 10, 12 years before I was ready to actually sit down and write a first contact novel. And it poses a number of questions, and I just sort of leave it to the reader to decide how they want to actually interpret this novel. But it's come out in the UK, it's come out in North America. It will be coming out in French in April here. It's been picked up in Germany and Italy and Poland and Russia. And I think it's already being fairly controversial in the UK, from what I've heard.
Beaucoup d'imaginaire dans tout ce qu'on a dit, beaucoup de fantaisie, un peu de science-fiction. Ah, est-ce que... Oui. Yes. Alors, beaucoup d'imaginaire dans ce que vous écrivez, beaucoup de fantaisie, un peu de science-fiction. Pour quelles raisons vous faites utiliser ces genres de l'imaginaire pour vous en tant qu'écrivain? Vous avez fait aussi un petit peu de littérature générale.
I don't know why. I don't know why. What I've discovered is writing mimetic mainstream fiction, even the first Contact novel set here on Earth, you know, kind of an alternate Earth, was far easier to write than fantasy. Fantasy is a very difficult genre, probably the hardest genre to work in. And so coming back to it after all these years was quite liberating. It was quite relaxing to write. So I feel myself pulled in that direction. So I'm having to fight that because I've got fantasy novels to write as well.
Et pas du tout de polar ou d'autres genres? Pas du tout. Ouais, pas du tout de polar ou d'autres genres?
No, I did make a joke. I was going to be writing a British-style mystery with an Inspector Who McDonough, but I'm not going to. That's an English pun, so Hugh McDonough. Yeah.
Et comment est-ce que vous nourrissez votre imaginaire d'écrivain, pour le coup?
I can hear you now.
Comment vous nourrissez votre imaginaire d'écrivain?
How do I feel about it?
Ouais, comment est-ce que vous regardez des films,
right.
des séries, des documentaires, vous lisez d'autres auteurs peut-être?
Yeah, all of the above. Also, I still keep my hand in archaeology, and one of the advantages of archaeology is that you can travel to a place and immerse yourself in that place for some time. You have a reason to be there rather than just a tourist. And so when I work on sites, I try to sort of imagine, well, one of the jobs you do as an archaeologist is you are using your imagination to actually peel back the landscape through time. And by doing that, you're rebuilding worlds that are not visible to us right now. And then you test your hypothesis by sticking a shovel in the ground. But I'm always inspired when I'm on a site where I know we're looking at thousands, if not tens of thousands of years of history underfoot. That is really quite amazing. I've been working on a volunteer project in southern Italy for the last few years in Puglia. And the primary part of the site are a series of limestone caves, karst caves, that were at one time rebuilt into Byzantine churches. And so you walk into the cave and it's basically a church. You've got an altar and you've got paintings on the walls, and we're restoring some of these paintings. But you walk out from the cave and you look across to a plowed field, and that plowed field was originally a Neolithic village and then a Greek colony. So you can walk that field and you can pick up Greek pottery all over the place. And then just off to one side of all that, last time we were there, we hit 3 burials, very shallow burials. So all of this is sitting there and you don't know it unless you actually walk it and explore it. And that's what gets my imagination up and running.
Et une petite, on a beaucoup parlé